Welcome back once again, hardcore wrestling fans. I'm Aaron Royal, and this is IPW Hardcore Professional Wrestling's weekly recap. Something just a little bit different this week. Not only will you see footage from our WrestlePlex, but also we went to the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory to invade NWA country to show once and for all why IPW has it all over NWA Florida. So sit back, fans. Match number 1, Phil Latio and Snowman right now. And here we get started. Snowman attacking Phil Latio from behind. You can see the vast size difference in these two. And joining me, as always, is Sir Ronald J. Nimi IV.
It's a pleasure to be here once again on IPW Hardcore Weekly Recap. You know something? The sick obsession with Snow trying to take Phil Latio out of the business. I don't understand it. What's this guy's problem? Beautiful DDT.
Well, as we know, these guys go way back. It started in a tag team match a few months ago. And apparently Snowman just doesn't quite like the ring attire or the whole lifestyle of a Phil Latio, unlike our own Shannon Rose.
Shannon Rose seems to be very fond of Phil Latio.
Yes, I've heard that before. These two are very good friends outside the ring. He's even been on his Pro Wrestling Weekly show that airs on 10:40 a.m., 7 to 8 p.m. every week here locally. And he has a column on ProWrestlingDaily.com as well, which is Shannon's website. As far as any of the other rumors about these two, I'll just leave that up to your imagination, Ron.
Beautiful clothesline by Snow. Like I said, the obsession with ending the career of Phil Latio borders on sick. He is obsessed. He has did everything in his power. You see him now bringing a ladder into the ring. He's driving it into the head of Phil Latio.
This is just a brutal match for those of us who were there, those of us that know. As you can see right now, Snowman has the edge over the much smaller Phil Latio, and here he goes on that gimmick on a pole match. Quite not like anything else you've ever seen in wrestling if you were there, folks, believe me. Ron, tell me the idea behind this match.
The idea behind the match is taking the adult toy, which was suspended on the pole, and beating it over the head of your opponent and hopefully beating them into submission. The only problem with this match is Phil Latio seems to enjoy getting beaten with this gimmick. Phil Latio seems to enjoy the pleasure he gets from being smashed in the face with something as disgusting as that. And truthfully, when you look at the crowd, it seems like everybody enjoys Phil Latio.
Yes, it actually does. The whole crowd loves Phil Latio, especially the guys, it seems like. And there you see him right now. He's much smaller, but Phil Latio's giving it to the Snowman.
Phil Latio is not afraid to put his head anywhere that it belongs, anywhere that it doesn't belong.
And look, here you go, putting it down his pants. I mean, Ron, come on. I know we're hardcore. I know we're a little extreme, but this is just a little bit crazy, isn't it? That he's not damn Rikishi, for crying out loud.
He has one of the most finely groomed shaven ass in IPW, but truthfully, I could do without looking at it.
That's true. Actually, Sonny T asked him for some tips because of his back, but that's another story for another time. And there you see the, what would you call that? A very enjoyable Bronco Buster for Phil Latio, possibly?
I would call that the groin thrust of death.
All right, and here you see Phil Latio into the top rope of the ladder. These guys may be a little silly, but that is some brutal punishment right there.
You know, Phil is somebody that comes out there. He's out there to entertain the fans. He's out there to make them laugh. But truthfully, this guy can get down and dirty with the best of them. He'll break the rules. He'll break Snow's nose like he did in this match.
You haven't seen it yet, but Snow's nose was broken after this, and Snow's nose is kind of hard to say there, Ron.
Snow's nose is like a... Oh, my God!
See that nice power bomb. Got to put a hand on him first there, Star. There you go. Referee in 101, Star. There's the 3 count.
Star Stevens, one of these days, may just get the hang of refereeing.
Well, he was trained in the NWA, unfortunately.
Was he?
Yes, he was. All right, here you see Snow continuing to punish Phil Latio after the match. I believe this is a match where he decided he was no longer Snowman. He would just be known as Snow. And here you see him go to the top rope, and here comes the save. Just back from Puerto Rico. They call him Hot and Sexy. His name is Sean Hill.
Sean has had over a 1-year successful tour in Puerto Rico. He's had his name all over the internet, the magazines, and he's drew huge ratings.
And here you see a big drop kick. I believe that might have been what injured Snow's nose right there. I'm not sure. Lots of drop kicks there. I've heard rumors of Phil Latio running up phone bills to Puerto Rico. I thought it was a love line, but perhaps he was calling Sean Hill, a guy who he can kind of see eye to eye with, come in and help him out here in IPW.
Are you telling me that Sean Hill likes Phil Latio?
I don't know, but Phil Latio sure seems to like Sean Hill. All right, fans, I can't comment on this. We'll be back in just a few minutes here at IPW Hardcore Professional Wrestling's weekly recap. All right, welcome back, hardcore wrestling fans. Let me tell you something, and as I'm sure you already know, that was a great big man, little man match, probably the best you'll ever see on the wrestling scene. But now we have to go to NWA country, and joining me once again this week is Ron Nemi. How you doing, Ron?
I wasn't doing too bad, but everything has got to be a big rib on the hardcore giant. What's the problem, Aaron? I do everything I can to get along with you.
Hey, we're just trying to give you a leg up, Ron. Anyways, Ron, this week we're talking about we went to NWA country, we went to the Armory. And I'll tell you something, Ron. People talk about the Armory here in IPW like it's nothing, but the Armory is legendary as far as I'm concerned. I used to go there all the time and watch Dusty Rhodes. I used to go there and watch Mike Graham and Steve Kern when they were the Florida Tag Team Champions. All the world champions came through here. Ric Flair, Harley Race, they all won and lost their belts at the Armory at some point. But every time I go back there these days, you know what I think to myself?
You think to yourself, you know, it wasn't all that long ago that my father was serving coffee at the weekly bingo games here at the Armory when he was proudly serving his country in the Army and National Guard. Give me a break, Aaron.
Oh, that's real funny from a serviceman, Ron. But no, what I wanted to say was something very similar. Damn, that was a long time ago when the Armory was the place to be. Now it's IPW. The NWA had the stars of the past. IPW has the stars of the present and the stars of the future. And we're going to see that right now when Sean Hill takes on Frankie Capone at the Armory. And here we are, wrestling fans. It's Frankie Capone and Sean Hill. This should be kind of a great scientific wrestling match, not quite the high-flying match that you're used to seeing out of a lot of cruisers today, but that doesn't mean that there's any less skill involved with these two great competitors, Ron.
As a matter of fact, you got Frankie Capone and Sean Hill wrestling at the historic Fort Homer Hesterly Armory, home of the NWA in Tampa, Florida. Truth be told, Frankie Capone, Sean Hill, two of the best cruiserweights in the entire business, and the Armory should be honored to have these two. These two don't need to be honored to be in the Armory.
That's true. You see some nice deep arm drags there by Sean Hill, and he's putting the pressure on Frankie Capone's face with the knee. That's one of those little things in wrestling people don't always notice. They're noticing the flash, they're noticing the big show, they're not noticing those little things like putting your knee there that can wear your opponent down and win you the match.
You got two international superstars in the ring together right now. Sean Hill just returned from 1 year in Puerto Rico, where he had a very, very successful run, beating the likes of Glamour Boy Shane and a bunch of the other flunkies in Puerto Rico.
Including some gold, if I'm not mistaken, upon his time there.
Actually, a former IWA junior heavyweight champion. He did very well for himself while he's in Puerto Rico. And let's not cut Frankie Capone short. He's been to England on 3 separate tours and actually going back in a couple weeks with the likes of Justice, Python, and I believe Michael Todd is going also. All IPW superstars.
Very, very impressive. IPW is making waves around the world now, including Frankie Capone. But let's not forget, Frankie also a former IPW light heavyweight champion, the title currently held by the turncoat Rod Steele.
I'm not a friend of Frankie Capone, but I respect him, and I'll give him where credit is due. He was a great champion. He defended that belt, I believe, at one point 30 times in a 40-day span.
That's an incredible amount here on the local indie scene. It's amazing he could even find that many people to face him in that short of a period of time. But that shows you just how competitive the IPW wrestlers are, and it shows you how everybody from every other organization wants to hold the IPW gold.
It doesn't matter what you have. Hey, wait a second. We have a Reyes spotting.
Oh, yes it is. That's Adam Reyes, his father, the legendary Frankie Reyes, trained by the great Boris Malenko. They're NWA mainstays, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of them here in IPW as long as this bitter feud is going on.
Adam's coming up in the footsteps of his father. He's just as equally inept.
All right, well, I'm not going to touch that one here. You see Frankie Capone was choking hot and sexy Sean Hill over the top rope. Those are the type of tactics that he's used to get ahead in his current feud against Von Tankard, who surely he doesn't want that much to do with. But unfortunately, the former IPW light heavyweight champion has started a feud with IPW's first female graduate from the WrestlePlex, Destiny.
Frankie Capone is the type of guy that just likes to get into people's business. And right now, he's getting the business handed to him by Sean Hill.
Yes, he is. Like you said, hot and sexy Sean Hill, the new friend, if you will, of Phil Latio, is giving Frankie Capone, the former champion, everything that he might want. And I thought he had it there, but that was only a 2 count.
I'll tell you what, that's more like a 2.5.
Very close here. You see a little bit action from a little bit later on in the match. Both been a little bit worn out. They're really taking it to each other. And And here comes Frankie Capone with the big move, so he thinks, but Sean Hill does a reversal and slides behind him. And here he rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be it, fans, and we'll be right back.
IPW Hardcore.